Critical thinking is about a healthy skepticism. It's about our understanding of our own beliefs and to get a better sense of evaluating those beliefs. But part of critical thinking is about evaluating arguments by other people. It shouldn't be about winning arguments. It should be about evaluating them. And one area, we can do this all over the place in history, is reforms in the 19th century in the US. And so one of the lessons on the critical thinking website, that is www.criticalthinkinginhistory.com, is on antebellum reforms. So one of those reforms is women's rights. And so in this lesson, there's an analysis of the Declaration of Sentiments, pretty famous document. But the second part are some arguments against women's rights. And those are interesting to evaluate. So here's one of the arguments. This is an argument made a lot later, and here it is. Quote, when woman suffrage goes hand in hand with feminism, sex antagonism, and socialism, doctrines which would abolish the marriage ceremony, strike a blow at the fundamentals of Christianity, and revolutionize our social system, unquote. So in this lesson, students have to evaluate this argument. It doesn't give them anything else, it just says evaluate this argument. Hopefully what they would come up with is these arguments are irrelevant. Giving the women the right to vote really doesn't have much to do with anything else. Certainly not when you don't even make those connections. So that's I hope students would say, a very weak argument. Another one made also later is this one, quote, in our campaign before the voters of the state of Ohio, we rest our cause on these fundamental truths. First, the majority of women do not want the vote. Second, there is no evidence in the states where women vote that they have contributed anything to the general welfare, which has not been duplicated in other states where female franchise does not exist. And fifth, this I've just selected some of them. It's a mistake to presume that all women will vote right on moral issues. Okay, so let's take these one at a time. The first one, the majority of women do not want the vote, is irrelevant because this isn't about them actually voting. It's the right to vote. If some women choose not to vote, that's up to them, just like for men. So that is a very poor argument. The argument that there's states that have women voting, because at this time there were states that in which women voted, are no different than the other states. Again, not relevant. Okay, so the women are not arguing that, it's going to be perfect. They deserve the right to vote whether or not it improves society. And the fifth one, it's a mistake to presume that all women will vote right on moral issues. Well, you can probably guess that the woman suffrage people did not make this argument. And this is known as the straw man argument. So it's defeating an argument that the opponents did not make. And that's a pretty interesting analysis of that one. Temperance is another reform in the 19th century. And Benjamin Rush made some arguments about the negative effects of alcohol. And the students would look at these. There's about 7 or 8 of them in here. And the last one is that he's alleging that alcohol abuse is related to madness, that is, mental illness. And he says, the late Dr. Waters, while he acted as house pupil and apothecary at the Pennsylvania Hospital, assured me that in 1/3 of the patients confined by this terrible disease, that is madness, it had been induced by ardent spirits, unquote. So, evaluating this argument, we see that, at least in this case, he offered some evidence. He has a source, Dr. Waters, and he's offered that this person said that in a third of the cases. You have to wonder, though, was it like a study done? And did they have statistics? This sounds a lot more like, well, quite a few of them. Let's say a third. So it's not as reliable as a study done with, you know, double-blind experiment. So that one at least offers evidence, and that's a good thing. Okay, so those are some arguments that I think students would find interesting. What I found in my classes is students, once they learn some of these things, learn that they didn't have to accept all the arguments. They could think for themselves. To the extent that we can get students to think for themselves, that's a plus. So that's it for this one. Thank you.